what we call the middle third of the US economy. If you go back to
Mhm.
2011, when all of this information was being pulled together and the center was getting ready to open, we ended up landing on a revenue-based definition of 10 million to $1 billion. Now,
Okay.
I for years I've been presenting at conferences and events and doing all types of meetings. Every organization tends to have their own definition. They may vary slightly on those parameters of the upper and lower limits. We have no issue with that. It just so happens that at the time, using that definition, you roughly captured exactly the middle third of private GDP and employment. And
Okay.
so for us, it made a lot of sense. It was pretty easy to remember 10 million to a billion. We know that other organizations could use headcount. I think the government tends to rely more on headcount than revenue. We just felt like top line sales or top like that's just a number that is even when you started to get because a lot of people ask us about well do you measure margin or profitability or
Hmm.
EBITDA in a perfect world we would have all of those metrics but it's very easy for a COO or a founder to say I know what my sales were last year so it's just a number and within that range we do tend to segment quite a bit so there's been a lot of focus the last couple years on what we call the lower middle market. Some call it the emerging middle market, but that 10 million to 50 million,
Okay. Sure.
that is where when you go back to the demographics, when we launched about 200,000 or so companies in that total middle market description, almost 80% of them were below 50 million in revenue. So
Okay.
it's where a bulk of the middle market resides. It also happens to be where the help is needed
Hmm.
because you've got companies that have kind of outgrown the startup and small business space. And in many cases, they're growing very rapidly and they don't have a lot of resources to support that growth.